Super exciting times for Xbox fans. I mean, this is probably pretty surprising to a lot of people as well. So, when it comes down to it, it's been quite a weird year in gaming. In fact, it's been quite a weird couple of years. And, honestly, I feel like as an Xbox fan, it's really, really hard to kind of get like a huge focus on a lot of these things. But look, Microsoft is trying their best. I think that, obviously, I enjoy the Xbox. I think the Xbox Series X is a heck of a console. I think the Xbox Series S is a nice console. I think that, unfortunately, they kind of ruined the budgetness of it when they raised the prices of it. But still, I mean, if you can find a decent amount of a deal on it, then it's still worthwhile in my opinion. So there's always that kind of going forward to it. We know Xbox is putting their games on PlayStation. We know that that's not going to change, and we know that basically means Xbox isn't going to have any exclusives. So unfortunately, that's a bit of bad news. But even with the bad news, there's also good news and hope around the corner. I want to get into that. What's up, everybody? I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel. It means a lot to me personally. If you guys are looking for somebody who does daily gaming content, that's me. I have a lot of fun doing this, and I try to be fun yet informative. So if that's what you're looking for, hey, you found it. I give my particular spin on everything in the gaming news, and it's at least a story a day. So that's always the good thing. Yeah. So anyway, weird times. Gears of War just went to PlayStation. Helldivers 2 just went to Xbox. I think the Gears thing, the PlayStation, is a little bit more weird. I even though Sony owns Helldivers IP, like that's not like a God of War type situation, or what I mean, a Killzone or a Resistance. Like, I think that it would have been a little bit more strange had that been the case. But even still, Helldivers 2 on the Xbox, it's still kind of crazy to see that happening. And at the same time, it's really kind of led to a big boost in the player count, which I think could bode well for more games coming to Xbox from PlayStation. So that's going to be weird. That's going to be a tough pill for PlayStation owners to kind of swallow, or whatever the case may be. But anyway, yeah, massive increase. There's been a lot of curiosity surrounding Helldivers 2 release on Xbox Series X and S over the past few weeks, and that seems to have translated to pretty good sales in the first 24 hours of Microsoft's platform. Helldivers has been pointing out how the game's player count has spiked massively during that time, reaching over 300,000 active players at once, something that's been praised by much of the game's community. So yeah, their highest player count since the launch for Halo, Warband, and Xbox release. Really crazy to see that. It's nice to see. Some people are saying, I have zero doubt that it'll hit 400,000 over the weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if it got up to 600,000. They're back now, 350K. I just saw 100K on a Squid Planet. Xbox divers have brought the desperately needed reinforcements. So the one caveat here is not all those 300,000 players are coming from Xbox by any means. In fact, the Steam version of Helldivers 2 went from its average daily peak of around 50K to achieving peaks of over 100K yesterday. So even players on other platforms have clearly been caught up in the hype, which again, that's part of the reason why you do this. Like, the game wasn't doing particularly well anymore. And then you get everybody talking about, hey, it's coming to Xbox, and people want to play maybe with their Xbox friends or whatever. I actually, even though I own it on PS5, I bought it. I got it on Xbox as well. Was playing it with my friends. I'll say that it's a pretty decent version of the game. It's not. There were some issues, but I can remember there being issues with the the PlayStation version as well. It was hard to join and things like that. But again, it's nice to see that Xbox fans have this game now, and it's just crazy. It suggests that Xbox is off to a good start sales wise. I also think it helps that it was a $40 game. Surely PlayStation Studios will be pretty excited with what they're witnessing so far. and hopefully we get some more in-depth estimates on how well the Xbox version is doing soon. And if the success is as strong as it seems, perhaps we could be seeing more PS5 first-party exclusives make their way to Xbox. We'll have to see if that actually happens. When it comes to like the performance on Xbox Series X and S, it's pretty crazy. On Xbox Series X, Helldivers 2 runs at 4K resolution in quality mode, 1080p in performance, with the usual caveat that dynamic resolution scaling may be involved. The quality seems to stick to a locked 30 frames per second for the most part, but performance mode is much more variable. It's 60 frames more often than not, but has potential drop to as low as 53 in particularly hectic scenes. On the Series S, Helldivers 2 is 1440p in quality mode and output 1080p in quality, but potentially with native resolution of 630p. You can notice the reduced visuals in the version, but the snippet of performance mode suggests it's actually more stable than on Series X, running at a consistent 60 frames. And again, quality mode seems to stick to a mostly locked 30 frames per second. So the interesting thing here is that, like, I have a Series X that I game on mostly, that's in my room, and then I have a Series S in the living room kind of set up, and that's for when I want to do some gaming out there. And I actually was playing late last night, so I was playing in the living room on the Series S, and you can tell that obviously the visuals aren't as good out there, but the game was still fun. It was pretty smooth. I mean, there was a few hiccups here or there, but it wasn't anything particularly bad where I was thinking, oh man, this is terrible, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I think they did a pretty good job. Obviously, it was ported by Nixxes Software, who they do a lot of the PC ports for Sony and things like that. So we'll see how that kind of works out in the long run. But I think that, like I said earlier, they did a fairly good job with the ability to kind of do the things that they needed to do to get the game running great, and I think that obviously it's going to bring more people to the game. Not only is it going to bring more people to the game, but it's going to be able to kind of bring the game back to the forefront. I mean, like, I don't know if that's something where you look at it and you go, oh, that's a good strategy. You kind of look at these things and you go, hey, that's a good strategy, the way that they've kind of handled that. And what I mean by that is, do you release everything at one time on everything in the future, or do you hold back and get that second life? Like, I mean, Helldivers, if they would have released it on Xbox at the same time, yeah, there would have been more players at launch, I'm sure, but it probably would still be dying out right now. You hold it off that year or whatever it is, and then when you do launch it, it's like, hey, this game is actually doing really well, and people are kind of excited for it and things like that. So I think that's probably the biggest difference right there. The early tests for the games themselves should be taken with a pinch of salt. Their testing mentions that certain results, like native resolutions, can be approximate, but they're still very helpful with a way to kind of just determine what's going on. It suggests it's a pretty good conversion from PS5 to Series X in particular, but again, I'll link this and you guys can check it out. So it's nice to see that it's like happening there, whatever the case may be. It's interesting because when you do look at it from a certain kind of angle or whatever, like there was a little bit of lag that I noticed, like some parts, like where the drop ships are kind of coming in or whatever. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty good port. Like I said, I've played both Xbox and PlayStation 5 versions. I'll probably play some more on the Series X just to get kind of an idea of it. But yeah, I'm enjoying what I'm playing so far. I think that they did a really good job with it, and like I said, it's exciting to see that it's coming and it's on Xbox now, and at the end of the day, I think that that's going to be very interesting for everybody going forward, just for the fact that that we could be seeing more PlayStation games on Xbox soon, and we could be seeing more. Obviously, we'll see more Xbox, and we'll see more Xbox, and we'll see more PlayStation stuff before too long. But yeah, it's crazy to think that this is happening. I would have never thought that this really kind of happened. And there's like Halo ODST stuff, so really kind of hard to beat that. Microsoft did kind of a crazy job with that. The way that they managed to kind of get a hold of the game or whatever. I guess it's like thanks to Sony or whatever the case may be. But still, what are your guys' thoughts? Have you guys picked it up? Have you played it? I mean, it's it feels like an Xbox game, which I think is important. Like going forward, you got to be able to have those games that kind of fit in there or whatever. And it's shocking, but it's still, something that that we see that kind of is surprising at the end of the day. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys plan on picking up the game? Like I said, I picked it up. It's fun. It's something different. I like the kind of tongue-in-cheek aspect of it, but man, hey, you guys let me know what you think. I think it's a pretty damn good game. Rack 'em up. I'll catch you guys next time. Prep Gamer out.